Hey yo, what up guys? Prob here, coming at you with the usual Mortar Bait gameplay on top ladder. We're now on top 600 in the world, currently at 7,100 trophies. I wanted to reach 7,300 before making this video, but you know, I also reached the level 7 mastery on all of the cards in Mortar Bait, so that's also pretty cool, I guess. But let's actually do what we always do in these videos, which is scroll down as far back as Supercell will allow me and get ready for what is probably going to be another hour of Mortar Bait gameplay. I think there is something like 14 games to go through today. So sit back, relax, get something to eat, maybe some popcorn or something, and let's watch all these Mortar Bait gameplay together. For the first game, we have a match against the Golem Ebarbs, which is not that bad actually against Mortar usually, but this variant has lightning in it. Now, usually Golem Ebarbs has arrows zap as the spells, which is doable, but lightning is it kind of makes the matchup a lot harder. Now here I defend the first push that he makes with the Ebarbs pretty well. I use the Goblin Gang for the Ebarbs and the Musketeer for the Bomber. That is a pretty clean defense. But I think at some point in this game I actually get surprised by the fact that this guy actually has lightning in Golem Ebarbs, and he almost takes my tower with it. But no spoilers, no spoilers. Let's instead talk about how Golem with lighting is actually fucking impossible for Mortar Bay to defend. It's hard, man, because they can look. I feel like he uses it here. He should perfectly illustrate my point. There we go. My whole push gone. My mortar is dead, so now it's not gonna finish off that Night Twitch, and I have to spend literally all of my elixir at zero just to not get overwhelmed. Here I actually pull off a really nice log that, along with that spear goblin putting a spear right before dying, it actually kills the bomber, and that is actually what makes my tower stay up there. Otherwise, I would have gotten a whole lot more damage if it weren't for that log last second. So yeah, in case you don't know, log plus literally anything kills a bomber. That is something that is really good to know against those Golem E-Barbs matchups. But yeah, I feel like I'm gonna take it slow with the commentary today because it's like 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. right now, man, and I haven't slept all night. I kind of played Fall Guys and Brawlhalla all night. It was really nice, but yeah, here I actually went for a mortar in order to get his tower, but his golem actually moved and that it entered the mortar range. Here actually though I got a super good fireball at the same time that he missed like a super bad zap, so that kind of put the whole matchup, like it flipped the whole thing up, and now I'm the one winning. I also went for that second mortar there since I already cycled back to another one, and that actually ends up taking the tower till the end. So here I just cycle some more muskies so that I cannot get overwhelmed. Whatever he does, Fireball plus Log kills Night Twitch, and now he has literally nothing. I have all these troops on the field, and he's dead. So yeah, one missed zap is all it took to flip this from a win to a loss for our poor JP over here. That was game number one. Let's go to game number two, which is gonna be against, if I remember correctly, no, not the Hog 2.6 one. That is a really bad matchup. It's gonna be against GG Sparky with Mother Witch. In case you guys don't know, the usual GG Sparky deck has Ewiz in it, not Mother Witch, but the Mother Witch variant is a lot harder for Mortar to deal with, for Mortar Bait specifically. And yeah, I think the only thing making this matchup doable are the anti-Sparky mortar positions. When you place your Sparky one tile from the river. If I had a mortar here, I would have probably showed you, but I had a pretty bad hand, and since I had this super bad hand, I had to fireball the Sparky. I had literally no other move that wouldn't fit the Sparky. And this makes this first defense actually super awkward, but if I just go like Knight Goblin Gang, I feel like it's enough to DPS down that Sparky. And it actually was. I got a little lucky with that log because the heal spirit didn't jump. And yeah, I also played my spear gobs in a very bad position. I played them close enough to the tower that he could zap both the tower and the spear gobs. That was really bad. so I got a bunch of damage from that. But the reason this matchup is not too bad is because as long as they don't take your tower, you can still win. Like right now, it's the same as if I had a full HP tower, because he just has to break through at some point with a push. As long as I take his tower before he can do that. Oh, and yeah, and here, look at that Musketeer. He never expects that Musketeer because, you know, the Mother Witch would have destroyed all of that, would have defended all of that. And as a result, we get a lot of damage. So when the Mother Witch is uh, high enough, like close enough to the tower, that you can fireball it, you should fireball it. But when they play it low enough in order to avoid your fireball, you can actually just play a Musketeer on it, or a Knight if you don't have Musketeer. And in that way, actually distract the Mother Witch. So here this guy is saying wow and wow and wow again and again because I predicted his Mother Witch. Well, I didn't predict his Mother Witch. I defended his Mother Witch with a Musketeer, and then I also predicted his Sparky with the Spear Gobs. But I'm really not cheating too hard right now because he did end up zapping them and killing my Mortar. So now I'm in a very bad spot, and here I play the Mortar in the anti-Sparky position. So this is what I meant when I said the anti-Sparky position. As you can see, my Mortar is low enough that it doesn't target the tower, but it does target the Sparky as soon as it goes around the tower. And in that way, and look here, if he didn't play that Mother Witch, would have even targeted the Goblin Giant. But yeah, like even just retargeting onto the Mother Witch instead of staying focused on the tower, it's actually super useful in this matchup. So I always use it when I'm against the GG Sparky decks. It's super useful as a position because it keeps getting you mortar shots on the tower, and it keeps retargeting to all the new troops that he puts down. It's a very useful position when you're going against Sparky, when they play a Sparky in the back specifically. So yeah, that is GG. What's up with y'all guys, by the way? Or write me in the comments how you doing or something. Not like I care. It's more like, you know, it's good to have a good parasocial relationship with your local YouTuber. Am I right? But yeah, let's look at the next game here. We're against this, I assume, Japanese guy. Yeah, he's probably Japanese. But he's running a Scarole deck. Now, I love Scarole deck, as in Skeleton King and Skeleton Barrel decks, because they are very interesting. Usually they have mortar, but this one is not a mortar deck. So even more interesting, if you ask me, to see a Scarole deck with a giant skeleton and miner in it. Well, no, the miner is not that surprising actually, but the giant skeleton is. Here I actually go for a fireball. I didn't really need to. I could have probably just logged it, but I don't know. I don't know. I kind of panicked, I guess. So Scarole is the kind of matchup where either they overwhelm you and take your whole tower in one push, or you're probably gonna out chip them most of the time. So here I actually go for the spear gobs in order to kill that barrel, and then I log it all. So yeah, luckily my musketeer retargets onto that skeleton, otherwise I would have gotten a lot of damage. And here I think I defend all of this. The musketeer should, yeah, the musketeer handled that pretty well. And yeah, always when you have a 1 HP musketeer, do put something in front of it. It makes it a lot more threatening, and look at all the damage I get right now. I got 3 musketeer shots and a bunch of skellies. Just because I put that skelly bird in front of my 1 HP musketeer. Unless they have something like a delivery or something like that, it's really, really good to always defend your musketeers like that. Get extra value out of them. Here I had an awkward hand, so I used the mortar as a tank while I killed everything with a goblin gun. And it actually worked beautifully because it also forced the skeleton army out of him. Here, pretty good defense against Dart Gob. I always put something, either like Spear Gobs or a Knight or a Goblin Gang in some cases, against the tower, so that they kill the Dart Gob. Here I think I go for another log. I didn't really need to actually. I could have tanked a little bit of skelly damage in order to get a beefier counter push, but it actually still works pretty well in the end. I get the death damage from my barrel, and I get some skelly damage as well. Here though, I have to pull off a really hard defense. I actually kind of panicked and went with that mortar, but I feel like it would have worked even without the mortar. Like, then I was probably not close enough to my tower. It's just always better to not take chances, against the giant skeleton, because Yeah, maybe it's not gonna reach your tower, but do you really want to risk it? You know, that's a bunch of damage. Here I actually fireball, I think, yeah, everything, because the dart gob can be super annoying, and I even log the miner and the spear gobs in order to keep my musketeer alive. He keeps doing this shit that, like, I think is the only reason that his deck works in the first place. He can just clog the lane with a giant skeleton, and that is basically the full defense done. But there you actually see why this matchup is not that bad. I used a mortar to defend both a skelly barrel and a dark goblin, all in one. It's super useful. It's the whole reason that skelly barrel dark goblin decks or skelly barrel princess decks are actually not that bad against mortar bait, because you can get those 2-for-1 defenses. Here I actually got a little scared because the skeleton king was pushing the giant skeleton into my tower, and I was like, oh, stop, 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 you know. So I panicked a little bit, but everything worked out in the end. We got a bunch of damage, we got a nice counter push, and here, with the help of those spear goblins, I should even be able to get a mortar lock on tower, and there we go. The skellies from my barrel distract these spear gobs. At this point, the guy completely loses his mind, starts laughing maniacally, hysterically, trying to figure out how he could have been outplayed so hard. But the answer is pretty obvious: mortar bait, of course. That's how you got outplayed, bro. The power of mortar bait. So let's go to the next game over here. This is, yeah. Let's ignore the fact that I lost against Retaliation in something that should have been my matchup. Like, I'm higher than him on ladder right now, so clearly, even though I lost, I'm the better player, right? Of course. In order to illustrate that, let me now show you this matchup against Ebarb's Bridge Spam, which is horrible, horrible matchup. This is the kind of matchup where you can't defend at all, and you can't attack either because they have cannon cards. So, yeah, pretty much this is an impossible matchup. I'm still not sure how I won it, because if you look at this game here, I honestly think I played pretty close to flawless. Like, I made no mistakes. Even something like this log right here, yeah, look at that. Completely kills the Iwis, puts it at 1 HP from dead, and also like pretty much kills the whole cannon cart. I still have to play a knight, but my point is, yeah, this guy did miss a magic archer, so maybe not the best player. But my point, if I stop interrupting myself, is that I won 100-0 matchup. Maybe not 100-0, but like this is at least like 75-25 or something. I don't fucking know. Yeah, probably 75-25. But yeah, basically the way I want it is by fireball logging his cannon card repeatedly. Like, fireballs are the only way you can get damage in this matchup. Like, literally the only way. They can always defend your mortar. They can always defend your skelly barrel. So that's why it's an impossible matchup, because even though you can outspell them with fireball log, they can like pressure so much harder than you, and it pretty much makes it so they only need to break through once, and then you have already lost, because you cannot break through even once. So, pulling off some pretty tight defenses here. I actually let one barb hit my tower, because, you know, it's just one barb hit. It was not worth it to waste elixir. And here I cycle a musketeer, which could be considered a mistake because he can get the fireball value. But even though he used that fireball, now he has no elixir for the cannon cart. I go for the mortar at the bridge because, like, I knew that he was gonna fireball, so I needed to apply pressure. And I managed to defend the mortar enough to get some extra damage to secure my victory. Because at this point, I should have probably stopped attacking at all. Like, the reason I can't actually do that is because this guy has fireball. Usually, these kind of decks with Ebarb's Bridge Spam are they do not have any big spells or anything. So if once you get a big enough damage lead, you can just sit back, relax, and win with the tiebreaker. But in this case, he also had a fireball, so I guess I just kept attacking. And at this point, you even saw, like, I just fireballed this tower like nothing, just the tower by itself, because it was like he's probably gonna overwhelm me if I keep defending the whole game. So I want to eventually spell cycle him. And I basically just fireball this tower every time I had a chance, and tried to cycle logs whenever I had a chance, just so that I could kill him before we got to triple elixir. Because once we get to triple elixir, is like it's impossible for me to defend this stuff. So I log that. I fireball and log the cannon cart here, I think, and that is very important. I keep doing that again and again, fireballing and logging the cannon cart, because that kills the cannon cart, and the cannon cart is the biggest problem in this kind of decks. But at the same time, it spell cycles them. So if you can keep doing that, then they can never really get that counter push that they need to beat your ass, and you win at the same time. So here this guy realizes I'm one fireball log away from taking his tower, stops playing, and I pretty much made this super hard matchup look like I had the matchup. So pretty proud of this game right here, just because I spell cycled from the start of the game, but I also pulled off some pretty tight defenses. So if you couldn't tell by me repeatedly saying how great I am and how amazing that match was, I was pretty proud of that one. So yeah, let's watch the next one against the SK Graveyard. SK Graveyard is a super annoying matchup, not just for Mortar Bait, like for everybody. I don't think there's ever one person that played against SK Graveyard and then they were like, oh wow, I really enjoyed that experience. I'm happy that I did this. And as you can tell by the eye roll of that guy, the players of SK Graveyard are also, you know, not the nicest people in the world, let's put it like that. The guy is probably ready to BM at a moment's notice as soon as he can get one of his graveyard pushes going. Oh wow, I put graveyard and poison together. I'm so good. Such a good player. I pre-planted poison with my graveyard. I know how to play. That was my impression of an SK graveyard player. But as you can see here, the skill in this deck is not just about placing the graveyards down with the poison. It's also about putting a bowler down and then nadoing everything so that you can defend every single push in the game with the same defense. Does it sound like I'm salty? I'm not salty. I don't hate this deck that much, okay? It's kind of an annoying deck, but like I don't hate it as much as Royal Hog's Recruits or something. Or Royal Hog's Archer Queen. That is even worse. Rog's Queen Quake, my old nemesis. So yeah, this guy cycles a Inferno Dragon in the back. At this point, I'm still not sure if it's a graveyard deck. Actually, I probably, like, looking back at it, I probably should have known, but I still cycle my Musketeer in the back. Now, with that poison, I realize, yeah, it is in fact SK graveyard deck, and I cannot cycle my Musketeers in the back because they have poison. So once I know that, what I need to do is pressure as much as possible, as you can tell by that mortar, and my pressure works super well because I predict this bowler and I go for my musketeer. But as usual, just NATO everything together, super skill, works super well for him. And here I use the spear gobs. The Skelly King actually does get to my tower, but everything works out super well because my mortar connects and now he doesn't even have much to respond. He's a really low on elixir and I get a bunch of damage on both of the towers. So great interaction there, managing to predict that bowler is what kinda set everything off. And here I knew that he had an Inferno Dragon, but I really didn't have anything to predict it, so I just go for my Musketeer, and I'm kind of in a bad spot. I log to cycle and I play my Spear Gobs for that Inferno Dragon, cycling back to my Goblin Gang and defending that graveyard despite the awkward cycle. But here, now that he plays this bowler on the other side, I know that I can mortar here, and my mortar does lock onto uh, the tombstone, which is why I logged there. But still, my log wasn't really fast enough, so my mortar still got distracted by the skellies and died before being able to get a shot off on the tower. Even though it definitely locked, on the tower. I just got poisoned out before he could flourish. Flourish. What a great word. So here I log everything back so that my musketeer can kill that SK in time, but of course bowler is an impenetrable wall of OPness, so I can't really break through there. This whole time I'm trying to apply pressure because the moment I stop applying pressure, this is what happens. See? I stopped attacking for 1 second. Look at how much damage you can get by just going graveyard poison on my tower. I can literally just win the whole game like that. Oh my god. Okay, I am maybe a little salty. Maybe I'm just a tiny bit salty about this matchup, okay? You got me. Whatever. You saw how much skill there is there. But yeah, you gotta keep attacking. You gotta keep attacking the whole time. Here he actually misses the barrel and he nados my musketeer into his tower. So yeah, if you miss that, wind it back. It all happened so fast, you know. I had a little push, then the guy made a little mistake, and then he made a little mistake after that, and now there is no tower. And we can move on to the next game. We're kind of like munching through all these games, but as I said, it is 7 a.m. It's almost 8 a.m. now. Damn. So yeah, let's go for the next one, which is a little spoiler for the coming games here. But oh yeah, bro, I almost forgot about this game. Golem GK, bro, the pump deck. This Golem Pump deck is so bad. This Golem Pump deck is literally the worst Golem deck in the meta right now for my deck. I know, he doesn't have lightning. I did say that the bad Golem decks have lightning, but that is before this deck entered the meta because this deck is kind of his own thing. Like, look, I get a beautiful fireball here, even a mortar shot on his tower, but I'm still like, oh no, oh fuck, this is that golem deck, isn't it? And here's the reason why it's bad. Boom, put it down. You know it. Yes, fucking pump, man. Pump made this deck so hard to play because even if I fireball it, it's a -1 trade and you can't fireball it because this guy has skeleton dragons. If you don't have a fireball in cycle against skeleton dragons, like literally just golden knight, skeleton dragons at the bridge, you're dead. You're dead. There's nothing you can do. I mean, yeah, you can like play a knight plus musketeer or something, but if you don't have the fireball, like all these pushes are super awkward to defend. Luckily, I did have a fireball there because I didn't fireball the pump, and that is also why this deck is super bad because you are not going against a golem deck. You're going against a golem deck with a fucking spicy pepper in his ass or something. It's way stronger, way faster, and you get overwhelmed 1,000 times easier. So here I activate my king tower. Every time you're going against E-Drag, you might as well activate your king tower, especially against golem. It helps a lot, and I feel like it's the only reason that I could pull off these defenses. Here I actually spam all these cards just so that I can fireball, but the pump dies before I can fireball, so I can't do it in time, and I cycled all of these cards for nothing. I do end up fireballing like an idiot, and that was really bad. He's probably gonna get a bunch of damage from that. Yeah, he's getting a bunch of damage from that, and that was really bad fireball. Oh no, I actually forgot that I did that, but I definitely should have kept my fireball because, as I said, Golden Knight plus Skelly Drags, ooh, so impossible to defend without a fireball. Here I actually go for a mortar because I pretty much have nothing else that I can do, and instead of fireballing those, I go for a musketeer. I fireball after, and my musketeer still dies. So what happened there? The guy got a pump down, and I didn't get anything. So he just got a free pump down on the field. I have no idea how I didn't get overwhelmed, honestly, because that is the kind of stuff that makes this matchup impossible. So here I think I cycle a musketeer just so I can get a fireball down, and here it actually makes sense to fireball because, like, you know, there is so much elixir that he has. I have to somehow mitigate the amount of elixir that this guy has because I'm gonna die. I need to cycle to another fireball as well here, and I'm probably still gonna die. So I go for a godly fireball, hopefully. Godly fireball, absolutely godly fireball. Yeah, and that is the whole reason that I didn't die here. I would have definitely died. You know, like the scene in Avengers where there's like Doctor Strange looking through a billion different realities. I died in a billion different realities there. That is the one reality where I hit the pixel perfect fireball and then I defended my mortar so that I could get the quick win before getting overwhelmed. Crazy, crazy stuff. This is probably like an 80-20 matchup or maybe like a 70-30 matchup. But in any case, it's a really, really hard matchup. Here, actually, Fireball, I try to just cycle to my next Fireball log before the guy can overwhelm me because at this point he was in spell range and there is really no reason to make this go on any longer. Every single push that he does could be my last push because not all the pushes here are defendable. Okay, this is not a defendable push. I could have played my cards perfectly here, and I could not have defended that push. This is why this matchup is so hard, because if he gets like pumps down, which he definitely can, even if you play perfectly, then you just get overwhelmed. So yeah, Godly Farble there, saving my ass. Now the next game we're against Naldo over here, running very weird version of Minor Poison. Now you'll know about Minor Rocket, which kind of looks like this, but it doesn't have a Pekka. This is like Minor and Dark Prince combo is super good when you're going for like a bunch of counter pushes again and again. But the Pekka, it just slows the whole deck down, and I really don't know why he will play this. So yeah, here I go at the bridge, super hard, because he has the Iwiz down, and he goes for a very awkward push here. He goes for the Miner, so I have to split my Spear Gobs to defend his Dark Prince, but I also had to play my Musketeer for that Miner so that he couldn't get a lot of damage. So kind of awkward here. I didn't yet know what I was up against. I see the uh, Bandit here, and I'm like, what kind of deck has Miner and Bridge Spam in the same deck, you know? I guess that's what Naldo, my boy Naldo, is running. So I go barrel here before I even see the bats, and then I have to overcommit with the gang just so the bats won't kill me. But here, luckily, Naldo just goes. I don't know why I keep calling this guy Naldo. I mean, it is his name, but it's just a funny name to say. But yeah, my boy Naldo here just leaks Elixir until he can log everything, and that actually gives me a lot of damage with those gobs. Here, I think I log, but I don't know. It was kind of an awkward log. I also had to mortar. I do mortar out of the poison though, and that still doesn't give me any damage. I also go for a barrel here, which is really stupid. It was really stupid to go for that barrel. I thought that my spear gobs would kill the Iwis, but they didn't. So I pretty much just wasted a barrel. And here I actually went for a Goblin Gang, expecting him to go for Miner, but he didn't go for Miner. I kind of pre-placed the Goblin Gang because if he did play a Miner, I would have been destroyed. So, even though I didn't end up placing it, I still feel like I did the right thing there by pre-placing the Goblin Gang. And I am higher in damage than him, but I'm also gonna push opposite lane. I think, yeah, because once you realize that this guy has minor poison, well, you gotta switch lanes. You can't push in the same lane as a minor poison player. They're gonna absolutely out damage you, outspell you. They're gonna keep counter pushing into you. It's absolutely not what you want. You gotta push opposite lane. So even though I had all that damage advantage on the right lane, I started going left lane as soon as I saw that this guy had minor poison. I go for the Goblin Gang, but he does log it. I also go for Spear Gobs there, which kind of leaves me completely dry on the right side here. And he goes for a minor poison push, a minor bats push, I mean, right when I have literally nothing to defend it. So I have to sacrifice both a Mortar and a Knight just to get DPS down by the Bandit and bats push, because I had nothing else to defend that there. The good news though is that I'm starting to DPS down the left side there, and I'm starting to get into a kind of a field position that I like more, because this guy is not gonna switch lanes. He's a minor poison players. Minor poison players don't switch lanes, so I'm good knowing that right now for the rest of the game we're gonna play opposite lanes. That is kind of what still tells me that I can win this. And right after saying that, I go for a mortar, but trust me, this actually works out. I go opposite lane with this Calibarrel, and like this, he has to defend. He has to choose what to defend. He's probably just gonna log that, but I'm applying enough pressure both lanes that he can't really defend all of it. So I cycle a log here. I think I switched into his same lane here. Now I'm sounding like a moron because I said many times like, "Oh, you gotta push opposite lane. You gotta push opposite lane." But I guess yeah, something better than pushing opposite lane all the time. Oh wow, this guy just stopped playing. I forgot this. Something better than just pushing opposite lane all the time is to do double lane pressure. But yeah, I feel like I would have probably lost that game if that guy didn't stop playing. I forgot. Honestly, I shouldn't have showed you this game. I completely forgot that guy stopped playing there. That was anticlimactic as fuck. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is I started playing same lane again as him, and I probably would have died there if the guy didn't lag out or whatever happened there, because he could have just kept minor poisoning me. And it was kind of a good push because I could double lane pressure there. But yeah, you don't wanna go same lane. You don't wanna go same lane as a minor poison player. I feel like I repeated that 1,000 times, but that's the takeout. That's the takeaway from that game. From that game that I shouldn't have showed you. So here against Caesar 115, running GS Loon, which yes, you guys might think this is like a mid ladder deck. Giant Skeleton and Loon, that is so stupid. But no, like this is an actual archetype. This deck has been a thing for a while. It's the first time that I see it with Mirror, that's true, but GS Loon has been a thing for a while. It works pretty well. Here I actually have to go with a Mortar just to distract the E-Drag, but I was actually trying to distract the Giant Skeleton as well. Just, he went for my Musketeer, kind of giving me a heart attack there. I also go for a Scalibro here, which, not a good idea. He did have a Bomb Tower, but oh well. If only I played it like half a second later, I would have reached tower. But we're still good damage lead straight from the start. And in fact, this might even be a little boring because I think as long as you cycle musketeers here, as long as you stack musketeers, you should be fine. They can't really do much. They can't really break through. So I think this whole thing was basically just me stacking musketeers for 5 minutes and then winning with the tiebreaker. He did get pretty close to getting my tower there, but he also failed the king activation. I went for Musketeer Fireball there, and yeah, just defend the whole thing. The whole time, just poking at him again and again, never fully committing to any push. I'm never like fully selling out on offense because I need to keep stacking my Musketeers on defense in order to not get overwhelmed. But yeah, I didn't activate at any point my King Tower in this game. And that might have been a mistake, honestly, but whatever. The guy didn't manage to break through anyway, and I just spelled him out. At the end there, he went for a double Loon push. But yeah, kind of a weird deck still. Played pretty flawlessly. I just thought it was kind of boring to watch all of that. Probably should have skipped the Naldo matchup as well, huh? Oh well. I'm not gonna edit anything in. I'm not gonna tell you guys like, oh, by the way, don't watch that. You know what? If you wanna be good to the other people watching this video, you should probably like put that timestamp in the comments and be like, yo, guys, don't watch this match because the guy just stops playing at some point. I mean, I still have some pretty good tips in there with the whole go opposite lane against the minor poison. I did say it 1,000 times, I know, but it's really important, bro. Minor poison is such a bad matchup that if you don't know the little trick of just always going opposite lane, then you're most of the time you're not gonna win that matchup, like any minor poison matchup. I guess that's why it's so important because it applies to every single deck that has minor and poison in it. So this guy leaking a lot actually, and it's a Golem Golden Knight with Cannon card. So it's gonna be impossible for me to break through with any mortar. All my mortars should be defensive. Here, luckily, I don't know why this guy didn't activate the ability, but luckily it doesn't activate the ability. I would have definitely been overwhelmed otherwise. Here, I actually log a barb against a golem deck. Like I know, it's you shouldn't be trying to prevent small damage like that against golem decks because they are the kind of decks that just break through and take your whole tower in one go. But yeah, I go opposite lane as soon as I see that baby dragon. And here I should have gone for a mortar right as he was trying to activate his king tower there, but I did it a little too late. So what you actually want to do is play the mortar right when when they are hovering their NATO. So that, like slightly earlier actually than when they want to place their NATO. So they see the mortar, they panic because they gotta put something down, and they miss the NATO activation. It works 1,000% of the time. I literally just played that mortar like a little later than usual, but if I did it like slightly earlier, he would have missed the cannon card, the mortar would have locked on the tower, and he would have also missed the NATO. 100%, man, because that way they don't get the king tower activation. You get a bunch of scaly damage on the tower, and you also get a mortar locked on. If only you do that right, but I did that wrong, so whatever. Here I'm trying to just stack my musketeers so I can DPS down the golem. I really need all of that. And he NATOs everything, but I already have my next musketeer down. I also log here, I think, yeah, to kill the cannon card. If you kill the cannon card before it gets in range, then the musket can kill it from out of range, and that is really useful, because otherwise, it starts DPSing down your musketeer as well. Here I'm trying to push at the same time that I'm trying to DPS everything down, because it's it's kind of like the only way that I don't get overwhelmed, because this guy does have lightning. Keep in mind, this guy definitely has lightning, so I kind of have to. Oof, I kind of have to be attacking if I don't want him to slowly lightning me down. So here I actually should do the same thing that I did against the Ebarb's Bridge Pem deck, which is I should always Fireball log the cannon card. Because just like that deck, it's kind of like really hard for me to break through here. And yeah, like I go for that Fireball there, that is really good. I basically just need to spell this guy down with Fireballs. I am gonna win this with the tiebreaker. There is no way that unless he makes a mistake, there is no way that I can just take his whole tower. So all I have to do is to keep attacking, but not to take his tower, just to keep him defending. Because as long as he's defending, he cannot go all out with a golem lightning push. He still lightnings me here, despite the fact that I'm keeping him on defense, but that just makes me go even harder in attack. And my mortar actually gets a lock on the tower there, which is incredible. And wow, when I see this golem here, I go log fireball, because that keeps the cannon cart in range of the tower, and that actually is all that I needed to win here. It was an insane game, honestly. I made it seem like I had the matchup here, but clearly this is like a super bad matchup. And yeah, I'm honestly really surprised that I won that game. I didn't remember that I won this game so confidently, I guess. So the next one is RGGS with Mirror. Wow. Okay, those are a bunch of really hard matchups that I didn't remember winning. But we are getting close to the end there. I'm starting to get tired. It's been 37 minutes. Whew. You might notice that some of the time during these videos I'm kind of like half-assing my commentary, kind of like coming out with things on the spot, like, oh, of course I did that. When I watch the replay, I'm like, yeah, 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 that is how it makes sense. But you guys gotta understand, bro, I've been talking on stuff for 37 minutes. It's like, at some point you run out of things to say, right? Like, wow, bro, I just pre-fireball that hunter. Yeah, man, I do that all the time. Do I gotta say it every time? Like, yo, guys, when you go for the skeleton barrel at the start, you gotta hover the fireball, because you might get all that damage right there. Like, nah, man, that happens every game with the hunter. What doesn't happen every game is that. Do you guys see that? That almost fucked me up. That almost completely lost me the game here. It's like so annoying. Like, that shit shouldn't happen, bro. The knight was targeting the RG, but the RG was targeting the tower, but the golden, no, not the golden, sorry, the giant skeleton was targeting the knight. So it just pushed the RG out of range of my mortar, and the RG retargeted onto my tower. It was so annoying, man. That stuff shouldn't happen. But yeah, somehow I still won this super hard matchup. The mirror makes this matchup almost impossible, because they can just go like RG and then mirror the RG, or like go giant skeleton and mirror the giant skeleton, or even just like EQ at the end if they need to. They can just do that. So yeah, I try to go mortar here, because in single they cannot get an RG down. If they just place the giant skeleton, then you should go mortar opposite lane if you're in single elixir, because they cannot get a giant skeleton down. So I guess this is the kind of commentary I should make. Those little tips that should really help you win these hard matchups. Like, maybe push the RG instead of placing the mortar there on the right. You gotta push it. You gotta put it on the left, because if you put it on the left, it actually retargets the RG. That is actually what I was trying to do there, but I placed it on the right, not on the left, so the RG didn't retarget, and my tower went down. Still good though, because I'm trying to apply a bunch of pressure, like get his other tower as low as possible, so that I can steal the win right at the end. Because that's the only way you can win these kind of matchups, man. You gotta like steal the win right under their noses when they least expect it. Here he goes in with an RG on my king tower, but I think that was a huge mistake, Because I can just like DPS this down with a knight. I don't really need to play anything else in there. Well, okay, I still play a goblin guard. And this is how you can tell that I'm half-fasting this kind of stuff. Like, oh, I even went for the pre-fireball on the hunter. But look at that, he's not defending the right. He's still trying to defend his tower on the left. And in the meantime, on the right, I already have everything down. I managed to cycle the fireball log there. And right as I said, steal the win right under his nose. Wow, that all happened so fast, man. That all happened so fast. The guy just choked super hard. Judas Priest, bro. Cringe. So going for the next one. This is against a really good matchup, actually. For the first time in this video. Let's go. Finally a good matchup. Yeah, in case you guys didn't know that, Pekka Bridgeman is a really, really good matchup, which is why I'm going to watch this in 4 times speed. I already have like a bunch of videos on my channel saying how to beat Pekka Bridgeman, but these are to do it at the speed of light, I guess. Just try to not get overwhelmed on single elixir. That is really all you need to know against Pekka Bridgeman, because if they don't break through on single elixir, if they don't have like a huge damage lead by the time you're in double elixir, then you're fine. But yeah, in single elixir, it's kind of like they have matchup, because if they can like break through and take your whole tower if you're like 3 elixir behind or something. So you always gotta defend with the least amount of elixir possible. And once you get into double and then triple elixir, then they basically can't break through, and you can just win with the tiebreaker. So yeah, I kinda got overwhelmed a little bit there. I had to let the bandit connect, but everything is happening so fast, bro. Maybe it's because I put it at 4 times speed. But you know, I put a bunch of gameplay of how to beat Pekka Bridgeman on my channel. I feel like this 4 times speed is is super intense, man. Wow. GG, tiebreaker. The guy is angry, and you win the good matchup. I probably should have shown like the specific interactions of what happened there, but if y'all couldn't tell, I'm starting to get tired at 42 minutes. I probably shouldn't make these videos these longs. These videos these longs. Oh my god, I can't even speak English anymore. So let's show this one against Sam Hero against okay matchup, I guess. As far as fast bridge spam decks go, this is not that bad actually. The Golden Knight does make it a little harder though, because they can just like, you know, get a bunch of damage for no reason, just dashing into your tower. But yeah, as I said, I'm starting to get tired of these videos. I probably should not record all of the games, like every single one of the games. I should probably just show the best ones. But I have a very bad memory, so I cannot remember what the best ones are. So, you know, I just show all of them. That is why I show all the games, guys. It's not just to make a long video. It's because I can't remember which ones the good games are, so I might as well just show all of them, right? So, yeah. Ram spam deck. If you guys have seen my Ram Rider map of the meta, this is one of the cycle Ram Rider decks. This is the Golden Knight one. And here, wow, yeah, the guy actually missed the Magic Archer. That is pretty funny. But yeah, probably as far as Ram cycle decks go, this is the worst. But it's still not too bad. It's like they have a slight advantage. It's not that bad at all. Still a pretty good matchup if you ask me. It's like 55-45. So yeah, there I actually missed the lumberjacks. So I had to go in for a panic fireball, and he still got a ramp connection. And here, yeah, the guy, now I remember this game, man. The guy just started spamming super hard again and again and again, and that was always like at 0 elixir, because the guy never stopped pushing. But you know, if you put a mortar in that position, like the hog position, it actually fully counters Ram Rider. So even though even if they keep going at the bridge like that, you can just like keep defending in the same way. Knight for everything, and mortar for Ram Rider. There I went for a really, really good fireball. That fireball actually helped me out a lot, and it allowed me to go for more counter pushes here. I go for the mortar in the middle there, but I also go for the musketeer there to activate my king tower. You guys might think that was just lucky. That was not lucky. I knew it would activate the ability, so I placed my musketeer right between my mortar and my tower. If you do it like that, then it always goes for the king tower. If you have a mortar in the middle, of course. So yeah, right at the end, I noticed that we're getting close to tiebreakers. So I just try to make it so he can't get magic archers on my tower, and then spell him out. And there we go, steal the win right under his nose. Like I don't wanna show these kind of games in double speed because it makes it a lot harder to commentate on them, and you can miss a lot more of the action. But yeah, man, I should probably either show all of them on double speed or none of them on double speed. Oh, bro, it's 45 minutes, man. It's 8 a.m. I've been here for an hour. Oh well, okay. There's just two games left. I'm gonna watch them at one time speed, so you guys can get the full commentary instead of the the Sonic speed cut. So this is a game against the RG Lightning, which you guys might know is the worst RG archetype to go against with Mortar. Luckily, this guy does not have RGSK Lightning. He has the Mighty Miner version, which is a lot easier, I think, for me to deal with. So we get the usual start. I cannot go for the Scarole Ball, the Scarole Fireball combo because I don't have the Fireball in my hand. And here I try to defend everything with Mortar in the middle and then just Spear Globes on the side. I don't actually log the RG to get a perfect defense. I instead choose to go for a Excalibur so I can pressure him. That actually works out pretty well because we get some spears on the tower and we also get the death damage of the barrel plus a bunch of the Skelly hits. So yeah, go for a Musketeer in the middle here, so even if he activates the ability, it doesn't really matter. And I think I try to go for a counter push. So these kind of games, these kind of matchups, you actually have to try to predict the fisherman a lot. So you gotta place your musketeers in the middle in a place where they can like fisherman, and then you gotta immediately predict the fisherman with like either a knight or a goblin gang. So the musketeer then kills the fisherman, and that can give you like a huge counter push. That is the only way you can win this because if you just go a regular game, you just like slowly chip them down with fireballs and try to get perfect defenses, you will lose because you cannot get perfect defenses. They can just go Royal Giant Lightning and then you are dead, and you literally cannot do anything about it. Everything in your deck dies to Lightning, so yeah, you gotta somehow apply pressure. You gotta let them defend more than they can attack, so that they never have enough elixir to go for both the RG and the Lightning together. It's really hard. It's way easier to say than to do, but here I actually went for a log before I saw the Hunter. I kind of had a very delayed reaction time. But lucky for me, he went for an RG in the back instead of in the front, because if he went in the front, that would have been a really hard defense after that fireball. So yeah, when they go for an RG in the back, that means they're trying to cycle to another RG. So they want to play two Royal Giants on the field at the same time. What you gotta do when you see that is you gotta place troops on the same lane of the RG, so you can like chip it down and defend it without using a mortar. So even if they do cycle to another RG, now you have a mortar to tank for it while you get some more troops down. It's a really good thing to do. It's just if they RG, start playing troops. If they RG in the back, start playing troops same lane. So yeah, go for a mortar here, trying to apply pressure. He goes for another RG, which is exactly what I wanted, so that I can start DPSing it down. And he doesn't have enough to justify lightning there. I almost predicted the what is it called, the fisherman, but I didn't have the right card in my hand to play it. To oh my god, I'm starting to die. My head is killing me. So what was he saying? I forgot, bro. I kind of glitched out there. I was thinking of something to say, but then I got like a migraine. Oh wow, yeah, I did go for a musketeer gang push there, but still got my musketeer. I guess the night was late. Man, whatever you guys do in your life, never try to commentate and actually analyze and think hard about Clash Royale games for like 45 minutes. What is it, like 1 hour now? Don't do it. It's bad for your mental health or something. I don't know. Whatever it is, huge migraine. But yeah, we're kind of winning this, kind of chilling in here. I just need to cycle some more fireballs. There is one of them. Unlucky didn't get down in time, so that my barrel didn't pop on his tower. But at this point, I'm kind of just trying to spell cycle him out because I don't want him to start attacking me. If I start defending and he starts attacking, I might just get lightning cycled. So what I'm trying to do right now is to just have always a musketeer down. Always try to defend it from fisherman and stuff. Like that was that knight was for, and just try to spam all the spells I can. The mortar even gets on the tower there. So yeah, that's GG. Oh boy, we're in the last game. It's okay. It's okay, Prob. You survived another one of these ladder commentary videos. Just show the last game, bro. It's all good. Yeah. So another thing I should probably tell you guys about. It's been so long that I forgot if I even mentioned it before, but I'm actually gonna disappear for a while. I'm gonna go for a trip, go for a journey. One of my usual touching grass adventure. Uh, so I don't know if I'm gonna do more videos. I might still stream from my friend's place when I am over in another country, or I might not stream at all. As far as the YouTube videos go, if I bring my tablet, I might still record some because I'm not gonna play competitively if I don't have my tablet with me. I have a pretty shitty phone, doesn't really work. But we're gonna see, I guess. We're gonna see. So for this last game here, we have Lava Miner with Mirror. The Mirror is actually what makes this super hard. And I played my Musketeer a little bit too early, so my tower wasn't focused on it. But it's still fine. We get a Mortar down, and we get a Mortar shot. Here I think I actually played, yeah, I played the Spear Gobs badly, so that the Flying Machine connected on my tower. I even went for a Excalibur on the side, so that I could apply some pressure, and yeah, that actually gives me quite a bit of damage, but the problem with these kind of Lava Miner decks is that you can get overwhelmed really easy if they manage to build a big lava push. So just as I said before with the RG deck, you do want to pressure in a way that they can't just put all of their elixir on offense. Because like if you spend all of your elixir defending, that pretty much means that they're spending all of their elixir attacking. And you don't want that to happen for these kind of big decks like Lava Mirror here or like RG Lightning. If they're cycle decks, then you can definitely afford to just defend all game. It's fine, you can just outspell them, get perfect defenses. But I guess these decks you cannot get perfect defenses unless you're making them waste elixir on offense, on defense. So here I tried to cycle to another one of my muskies. I might even fireball that flying machine. Nah, I just cycled to another one of my muskies. So yeah, it's pretty smart sometimes to instead of like getting rid of everything on the field, just try to cycle to two musketeers so you can DPS all of it down, just damage everything and get a dub like that. Here I go for a knight to take my musketeer so that I can kill the flying machine, and I think I fireball this flying machine so it goes opposite lane. That's kind of what saves my ass here. Yeah, because that makes the skellies get on the tower goes down, and I can just defend. So that was something crazy, like 14 different games of Mortar Bait on top ladder. If y'all are trying to learn this deck, which you definitely should, then yeah, that's all you need, bro. Look at this gameplay, admire it, be like, damn, bro, prop good, and then try to, play better than me so that I can learn from you. We push each other up or something, and the Mortar Bay becomes meta. That's the dream right there. That is the dream. So 53 minutes, 54 minutes. Damn, that is a long ass video. I guess I'll take a screenshot to commemorate that, or I'll delete the screenshot. And yeah, I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. It's 8 a.m., 8:30 a.m. I haven't slept all night. Sleep deprived video right here. Bye bye.